All right, so yesterday was more of like a honesty and like down. I guess yesterday wasn't the best vibes. It was kind of like down. So today, I wanna make a more positive, higher energy, or I guess I should say not higher, but better energy. So um, I just want to start off with a couple of things. I guess some plans, some things that I want to do. So, literally for the last year, I've been planning and planning and planning on the places that I want to move. It has literally been a year. Well, like 11 months, but technically a year. Um, and obviously, I've been kind of, I guess, not really unsuccessful at actually choosing the place that I want to go. I've just been really indecisive because there are so many options and there's so many different things that I could do. And let me give you the rundown, just a couple of things that I had thought of. So, fast forward, no, not fast forward. Let's backtrack all the way back to like Q3 and Q4 of 2024. So, like September to December of 2024, my goal was to either move to like Wisconsin, Minneapolis, Minnesota area, or like the West Michigan area. And I was pretty like salt on going there. Um, Especially like seeing on Minneapolis. I loved Minneapolis. It felt like home. Minneapolis, the energy was insane. The people were stupid nice, and Minneapolis is affordable. And if I'm making 50 to 100K a month, I don't think affordability is really in the criteria. So let's just be real. So like I was saying, those areas really, I guess, like the upper Midwest area. I wouldn't really say Midwest. I would say, I mean, it is the Midwest, but it's upper Midwest, Michigan, Wisconsin, and Minnesota. So everything about it I loved. I absolutely loved. Like when me, Jake, oh no, I don't know, I'm tripping. When me and Jonathan went to Minneapolis, it was fire. It was extremely fire. Then a couple of months later, so we went in September. Actually, it was August 31st to like September 3rd or something like that. And then, but I honestly then got in the mindset of uh really just like I was kind of following the I guess the bandwagon. So basically everything, not really everything, but like I was just considering going there because me and Jonathan went on the Minneapolis trip. Like I was saying, that was super fire. Then Jonathan, and Colin, my little brother, that just turned 16, um, we went to West Michigan, Grand Rapids, specifically, and there was like 10 inches, 10 or 11 inches of snow on the ground. It was like a winter wonderland. We went at the very end of November, and it was actually, I believe, like their like first snow. So, I mean, bro. So, I kind of want to compare the two. So, Michigan, like I said, specifically West Michigan, oh my God, Grand Rapids area. It had a lot of like big city amenities, or I really wouldn't even say that. It was definitely not a huge city. It was definitely more like mid-size, and I feel like it is the perfect city for a just your average, you know, uh, what's it called? Okay, it took me a bit to find the word. I was like stumbling, but I found it. So anyway, it was very middle classy. I mean, you had people driving around, and it was like very middle class to upper class in the Grand Rapids area, or at least West Michigan from what I've seen. You know, everyone was driving around in brand new Hyundai Palisades, you know, 30 to 50, you know, or 30 to $40,000, you know, newer SUVs, you know, da 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 da, you know, it was, and they had, you know, bought their home or they rented or whatever. It definitely gave like middle class or like upper middle class vibes. So that was cool, but like I would say, I feel like that is probably one of the, so just comparing it to Minneapolis, if you don't want huge city, if you don't want nothing like too crazy, then yeah, I think that I think Minneapolis, or no, I think West Michigan in general, specifically Grand Rapids, but really all of West Michigan is very similar. But Grand Rapids, that I feel like that is a very good area to raise a family. So it didn't feel like I said, it felt very like it definitely didn't feel like a big city. You know, you had buildings, you had no skyscrapers. You know, it wasn't like, you know, Manhattan or Brooklyn, New York, but it was, or, you know, LA, but it was definitely, you know, it had big city amenities. It had everything you needed, but it wasn't too crazy. It was very chill. Everyone was very, you know, nice, laid back, whatever, cool. Moving on to Minneapolis. Now, I'm going to be honest. Personally, I personally think that the Michigan trip was better. I feel like we had a better time in Michigan only because there was almost a foot of snow on the ground. We're from Mississippi, doesn't really happen that often. I mean, I think the most snow that I mean, I'm 19, gonna be 20 this year. Since I've been alive, the most snow that I can tell that we've gotten was maybe like 8 to 10 inches, like ever. And in Grand Rapids, the first snow of the year at the end of November was 10 inches. So I think we all agreed, because I remember we compared after both trips were said and done, and I think we all agreed that the Michigan trip was better. But like I said, that was only because that was mainly because we had planned everything out better. We also had the hotel booked. The hotel was already set and everything. Third, you know, like I said, it was 10 inches of snow, and it was just a better time of the year to enjoy those magical, Polar Express, because technically the movie The Polar Express is based off of Grand Rapids, Michigan. So, Michigan, I definitely enjoyed that trip better. But if you are a entrepreneur or business owner, or if you are wanting endless, you know, if you want bigger, I would say, opportunities, Minneapolis is definitely better because it is much bigger, and you could definitely feel it. So Minneapolis, obviously you have two cities really in one. It's the same thing as Dallas, Texas, and Fort Worth. You know, the DFW area. You have, you know, Dallas, Arlington, Fort Worth, McKinney, Irving. No, that's, wait, maybe. I know of Irving, California. I don't know. I'm not super familiar with the DFW area, but like it's the same thing. So in Minnesota, you had Minneapolis and St. Paul. So you had both cities, like I said, it's very similar to Dallas and Fort Worth. So basically two cities, big cities right next to each other. That's the same thing as St. Paul and Minneapolis. So you have you have everything you need, but if you were looking for that, I guess, bigger city, you know, type of vibe, you know, more opportunities, if you're, you know, richer, if you know, you're making 30, maybe 20 to like 100K a month, or like you're set, like you're making like money, and you want, you know, supercars, you want that richer life, Minneapolis is definitely better. And I will say this, I can definitely tell though that in the wintertime, people in Michigan, and maybe, you know, sometimes Minnesota too, people in Michigan definitely have a lot of seasonal depression. And obviously, I'm not saying that only Michigan has that. Uh, Obviously, it gets colder in Minnesota. Michigan actually generates more snow because it's just, a better climate for that. Because sometimes Minnesota is to the point where it's too cold for it to even snow. Sometimes it's too cold. So that is the thing. But like I was saying, I definitely felt I felt the seasonal depression. It was definitely stronger in Michigan than it was in Minneapolis. I definitely felt that. I will say, people and the obviously you hear the term or the saying Minnesota nice. That is very real, very very real. So people are definitely noticeably nicer than people in Michigan. I'm not exactly sure why that is, but you go to the biggest mall in America, Mall of America in Minneapolis, and but let me say that both places are good, but I'm just saying I need to kind of cut it short. I'm kind of going into too much detail. So those were the original cities on my list. And I can definitely say that I chose many. I would rather live in Minneapolis over Grand Rapids just because of my standards, business, that entrepreneurship type, mindset, and, snow cone business, performance shop, real estate, okay, Minneapolis has really good, like, home prices, in my opinion. A $1 million house in Minneapolis is going to go for like 3 to 4 mil, actually 4 to 6 mil in what's it called, LA, and maybe like Chicago. So Minneapolis is definitely more affordable than a lot of, I guess, places, from with the size of the city. The main downside, and also let me just say this. Minneapolis, actually more specifically, downtown Minneapolis, those were the actually all of Minnesota. Those were the best roads I have ever felt and actually like driven on in my life. And I've been to maybe 15 different states, probably 15 to 20 different states in my life. And those were easily, and it's not even close. Minnesota had the best roads. We come from Mississippi. Mississippi has Mississippi highways and interstates have decent roads. They're okay. But Mississippi has horrible roads. Alabama has actual decent roads. The interstates are really good. The highways are really good. But in the, downtown area, that's where places in Alabama do not shine. It's the very opposite from Mississippi. So, but yeah, especially downtown, super, super clean. Very, very clean. Me and Jonathan were talking about it. Like, it literally looks like someone comes out there and works 12 hours a day, sweeping, pressure washing, cleaning, everything. Just there were no trash. Nothing. Nothing, bro. So, yeah. Anyway, those were my original two places. And then it switched from there to Milwaukee, Wisconsin. And that didn't last long. I was only considering that because of a CDL opportunity. And I'm obviously not so interested in that anymore. Because I want to make more than I want to make more than what a salary person makes. And I took that off my list pretty quick. Wisconsin in general. So after Wisconsin, it went to Fort Lauderdale, Florida. So when it started getting, warmer and into spring again, I was back into that. Okay, you know what? I'm snow is getting so tiring. I'm tired of the cold. I'm tired of the snow. Let's just move somewhere where they don't have it. So Fort Lauderdale area or Miami area was my, my pick. And then I never exited that out. So I kept Fort Lauderdale in the Miami area. I would, more specifically like somewhere closer to Miami, but Fort Lauderdale, that is obviously, it's like very close. 30 minutes you can make it easily. Maybe 20 if you're doing over the speed limit from Fort Lauderdale to Miami. So, after that, it went to Houston, Texas. So I kind of wiped, Houston would be the only, like city, I guess, that I would move to in Texas. Like I had like a very weird Texas vibe. I don't know. Texas has it's just everything is bigger in Texas, bro. Cars, connections, everything. Everybody is in Texas, it seems like. Everyone. So, the Dallas, Houston, Austin area, those, could be a possibility. Then I went from Houston to LA. And LA is LA. That is like my number 2 or my number 3 on my list. LA is LA, and I would be 100% set on LA if taxes wasn't anything like it is in LA. I would wipe everything off the list and I would be moving to LA. The taxes in Los Angeles and even like San Diego, they're actually higher than LA. But the taxes in LA are stupid, bro. Like 50%. That is stupid. That is so stupid. Like, bro, that is genuinely so stupid. So, especially if you make like a high, income or whatever like that, dog, there's no point, okay? There's really no point in even moving there because the taxes are stupid, bro. Obviously, my top two, and actually, so then LA, then there's one more place that I would love to move to, and that is Dubai. Dubai is probably the most, and when you're looking at like just specific things that make a good city, a good city, Dubai checks off just about everything you can possibly think of. Affordable, and yes, I say it, it's affordable. For a city with that, like that, for a city like that, compared to New York, Los Angeles, Chicago, those areas, Dubai is incredibly affordable. And if you can make 7 to 10K a month, you can comfortably live there. And do not say 7 to 10K a month is hard. 10K a month is easy, bro. That is incredibly easy. There is no excuses why you can't live anywhere you want to, bro. Yes, affordable, clean, literally the clean. It's rated that and Copenhagen, Denmark, but Dubai is number 1 every single year. The cleanest city in the entire world. Number 3, it is the easiest city to become a millionaire. Number 4 kind of ties into number 3. A million ways, for investment opportunities. Just opportunities that are, like I said, it kind of ties into number 3, but opportunities in general, they are endless. And number 5, it is literally paradise. It is home to the Burj Khalifa, the tallest building in the world. And it is literally like, I know Shanghai, in China. I don't even know if I'm pronouncing that right, but that's a very, high tech, good, has good infrastructure, very modern, or not modern, but very, or I guess modern, but like a high tech, technology type city. Dubai is very much that, if not even more. Singapore is also up there. But Dubai is a whole different level of technology, bro. And the rules, and bro, I'm telling you, the rules, dog. The rules in Dubai are insane. It is the safest city to walk through. unlike America, you don't have to, leave your, $500,000 Lambo sitting there on the side of the road and have to worry about somebody breaking into it or trying to steal it. You don't have to worry about that in Dubai, unlike America. So, also, one of the biggest things that is also making me want to move to Dubai, which is probably gonna be my end game anyway, eventually, the driving. It is left-hand drive vehicles, just like America, and you drive on the right side of the road, just like America. The only difference is I'll have to get used to reading kilometers instead of miles per hour. So kilometers or kilometers, however they say it over there, versus miles per hour. So I have to, which I already know, kilometers per hour. I already know most. So, 100 is, 60. 300 kilometers is 180. So, out of all of those places, I'm genuinely not sure where I want to move. So, it really comes down to where I want to go. I'm gonna be honest. I'm probably the only place that I would scratch off a couple places. 2 places I'm scratching off my list right now. Let's go ahead and get it done. I'm scratching off, unfortunately, LA. I cannot be paying those taxes to live somewhere like that, bro. Yes, it is perfect weather year round. Perfect. Los Angeles is beautiful, bro. But it gets to a point where that is just stupid to pay those taxes. That taxes like that make or break a place, and it is a complete deal breaker for me, because like I just said, if it weren't for the taxes in LA, I would scratch everything else off the list and be moving to LA. But the taxes are so horrendous and bad that I am keeping everything else except for one place, but scratching LA off because I cannot be paying those taxes. I want fun stuff. I want supercars. I want, investment properties. I want a nice modern house. I want a boat. I want, good water, which they have, whatever, they have the, California Pacific Ocean, California coast. But I don't want to be giving 50% of my money away in taxes. So let's go ahead and do it now. Scratch LA off the list and scratch Grand Rapids off. Grand Rapids, not enough opportunities. It's a lovely place. I'll probably go there maybe once a year to visit, when it's just snowing, whatever. Scratch that off the list. So now we're down to Minneapolis, somewhere in Texas, Minneapolis, somewhere in Texas, Houston, Dallas, Austin. Nothing else. Not San Antonio. Nothing like that. Number 3, Miami, Florida, or Fort Lauderdale area, but Miami, Dubai, and I forgot to add these other places on the East Coast, either South Carolina or North Carolina. 5 places in mind. And the reason I say South Carolina or North Carolina is more specifically Charlotte. Charlotte is a very clean city. The culture is identical to what we have here in Mississippi. It's very, very close. It's still considered the South. It's not like a completely different place. I can actually be myself. South Carolina is an identical match. Identical. People talk the same here. We have like almost identical gas prices. Their home prices are, higher. But they have a higher wage. They make more over there. Everything else is cheaper. Like, food. Actually, gas is a little bit more cheaper over there. But food, gas, utilities, internet, day-to-day things, is cheaper. So, If anyone knows, please let me know where I should move. Let me give you the characteristics, or not really characteristics, but what I have down. I am almost 20 years old. I want good life. I want a good balance. I don't want it to be like Miami where you have yacht parties every single night. I'm not into the party life, but I want it to be active at the same time. I want a good mix between you can relax on some days and then you go out on some days and have, go stupid, go crazy. I want that. Like I said, I'm almost 20. Number 3, price I do not care about. Price does not matter, but I do not want California taxes. Number 4, I would prefer it would be somewhere where there's not a foot of snow on the ground every single year. Number 5, I want good opportunities, good investment opportunities, and relatively decent home prices. Let me know.